Howdy Earthlings, welcome to another video about another Roblox Delver or Dandy-like game. You know the deal, we pick an adorable character, get chased by monsters with easy to exploit AI while we interact with 4 machines and then run back to the entrance just to do it all again. This time we have Fuzzy Horizons, who I will say up front does do some stuff different than other Dandy-like games that we typically look into. Let's get into it. Before we start though, this game is the only Delver I played that didn't have free private servers. Sorry if I ruined your lobby experience this weekend because fans were filling up the lobby that I was in. As usual with my complaints though, the devs saw my stream and are probably already fixing what I complained about. Reminder to the Roblox devs out there though, I do consultations where you can pay me to play your game and provide a much more in-detail document of what's going on. The reality is that there are billions of Roblox games out there and I can't play every game forever, so I likely won't return to this game anytime soon. So if you're interested in a small business consultation to improve earnings and more importantly, improve your game, go ahead and DM me on Discord. Now, let's really get started. Gameplay. It's not very different from any of the other Dandy likes that I played. Like I said up front, pick a cutie, go in, get chased, interact with shrines, then take a magic item that you're given from the shrine to the bigger shrine and drop it off, then go back to the entrance to exit and start the next floor. Rinse and repeat. But these slight changes to the loop is the biggest difference in gameplay between FH and other games. Interacting with shrines is also probably the more annoying aspect of the game from a controller player's standpoint. It was clearly made with mouse and keyboard or tablet only players in mind. While interacting with a shrine, a minigame will pop up. Like Anchored, these minigames tend to be too involved for this kind of game. Also like Anchored, they're atrocious on controller. One in FH is particularly horrendous, and it's the Connect the Dots minigame. On mouse, you'll click and drag a line through all of the dots in order. If you miss the order, you lose the minigame and get kicked out of the shrine purification minigame. How well do you think this translates over to controller? If you said it doesn't, you'd be right. If you also said the worst possible way, or by pressing buttons in order, you'd also be right. You press the button it says to, then you do it about 30 more times. If you mess up once, it kicks you out. If you make Roblox games, listen up. If you're going to put controller support in your game at any point in the future, then you need to design interactions with controller compatibility in mind from the ground up. Because the best solution to fixing the Connect the Dots minigame this far into the game's release isn't simply adding buttons. It's starting over. Toss this minigame out and start over or greatly reduce the amount of dots needed. Every time I see this minigame, I think about exiting and starting over because best case scenario, this takes forever on controller. Worst case, I fail just before finishing and it took just as long without any progress gained. But closing out and starting over isn't really an option either, as it seems the game prefers giving the Connect the Dots minigame. This is also one of those things where it's like, yes, it's different and I haven't seen anyone else do this, but it's also, if no one else is doing it, there's probably a decent reason why. I firmly believe that not making your game controller compatible from launch is a terrible decision. You're leaving money on the table. You're telling a third of the audience that you don't want them to play. But poorly implementing controller support is just as bad because you're telling them that they're an afterthought. If you plan to add controller support to your game, then design your game to function with it from day one. It's not that hard. There are $20 controllers. If you can afford to pay a team to work on a game, then you can afford to drop $20 on a controller and test the game out yourself. And believe me, $20 is way cheaper than the alternative because fixing it later is going to cost you a lot more time and money than just doing it right from the beginning. The other mini games are fine. You have the music sheet and you just press the right buttons. You only need to do it 6 times. The other one is your standard timing check, the one that's in every game. Once you fill the purification meter, the tree shrines give you an item and then you deliver it to the big goddess shrine. When all the tree shrines are done, but the items aren't delivered yet, you have a timer to hand the items over. If you don't do it in time, everyone starts to take damage. This is, of course, very easy to grief with. A person only needs to hang on to one item until time runs out and kills the entire team. If you wanted to grief for the long haul, though, you could bring people down to half to waste more time. I'm telling you how to grief in hopes that the team finds a way to fix it, not because I want people to actually do it. When you're in a stage, you'll also collect money that you can save for characters to buy items from vending machines. Personally, I haven't messed with the vending machines because I was trying to save for getting more characters. Once you're done, though, you head to the van and continue on to the next floor. Interestingly, the game does have some floor events already, like themed floor for characters, soul purification to unlock new characters, and actual events like cold floors. Soul purification just means that there's a soul on the floor, you interact with it, and then you finish the stage. This finishes the purification challenge for character unlocks. Each character has one. I prefer this greatly to doing research. Character challenges to unlock a character are already plenty time consuming. I think research is just one of those holdovers where, well, Dandy's World does it, so we have to do it too. to. You don't have to. You can do something different, you can try something different. No one is playing Dandy's World specifically because of the character unlock process. The cold floor is interesting. You have a temperature meter on your right and it empties over time. When it empties fully, you start to take damage. To refill it, you stand next to the red monoliths. This is kind of annoying, but I respect the idea that you're going for here. My suggestion is, rather than making them spawn in random locations, you give them specific locations that are always in each zone. Also increase the radius of the heater monoliths. As for enemies, the AI is pretty truly terrible, probably the worst I've seen. They constantly get hung up on objects or their pathing gets stuck. They do have a creative solution though. When the outcasts get stuck for too long, they'll teleport elsewhere. It's a smart solution, but I think it ruins immersion a bit. But if you can't make the AI better, this is fine. The problem I have is that they can see through objects, sometimes through solid walls, and that definitely needs to change. The chases are very well done. Eyes appear around the edges of the screen, static clouds your vision, and then you hear crazy cartoony music. There is zero doubting that you're in a chase. This is something that all games could be doing better. The chase stuff is based off of Shipwrecked, which is good. You're pulling inspiration from non-Dandy-like games in order to make your Dandy-like game. That's going to make it better and actually scarier. But my biggest issue is that this game is slow, but every game that isn't Dolly's has this issue. Let's move on though. I've been on gameplay for ages. Characters. There are currently 8 characters in the game, and one of them is a pretty recent addition. They're all furries, and the quality of visual design varies. Valentine and Raina stand out the most to me as looking out of place, and it's mostly their aesthetic. I don't think they fit well with the others, especially the faces. Voice acting is a coin flip, and there aren't many that I would say are bad fits. I will say the mic quality is genuinely garbage on some. Sylvie's VA shout acts. This makes the audio hard to listen to, and repetitive voice lines make it worse. Droopy's "Here comes Droopy" voice line is very creepy, especially when the VA whisper delivers the line.
Here comes Droopy.
Some sound like a bad McDonald's drive-thru mic, and some actors are too close to their microphone. This sounds like nitpicking, but every YouTuber knows that the quickest way to make someone leave is to have bad mic quality.
If the audio quality is bad, people will leave, especially if it hurts their ears or they find it annoying or repetitive.
If you're going to do voice acting in your game, you need to write more than just a couple of lines per action, but not a lot of these games use voice acting, so you should be commended for even trying. Anyway, the characters are fine. They're all a little mascot-like, which is to be expected in this genre. Characters are broken down into 6 stats and an ability. The stats are sneakiness, endurance, health, stamina, luck, and speed. Health works like Dolly's Factory, where it's not hearts-based, meaning every damage source can deal a more customized amount of damage, which allows for more varied characters and abilities. All of the other stats except endurance and luck are self-explanatory. I believe endurance is damage reduction, which is a first for me. I have not seen any other Dandy-like incorporated defense stat. Usually, health is enough. Luck is your shrine stat. This presents a problem though, as CLB, the starter character, has the highest luck tied with the 2 most expensive characters. This feels like a weird choice, as many people are going to stick with the best extractor to make runs faster or to make more progress. So making the starter character the best at it, well, you don't really have a different extractor to look forward to getting, not until the very end. For me, CLB is the best extractor, which means I feel no reason to unlock others. I don't know, it's just an odd choice to me. As for a character hierarchy, it mostly comes down to price. Let's break down character abilities, as it's the biggest difference the characters have between each other. Semi-related, each character ability has a tarot card associated, which is neat, but doesn't make a ton of sense with the game setting. But I love tarot, so I'll let it slide. Anyway, CLB has Seal Beast, which says he's an all-rounder. Immediately, this is a nonsensical ability. Having average stats isn't an ability itself. Instead, this ability is saying that it's the lack of an ability. Valentine gets a speed boost. She's going to have the same issue as Cinnabon because of this. By that, I mean Valentine will suck. Half of my game consultation with Freya from Dolly's Factory was talking about how to fix Cinnabon. She's that bad. If you're going to make an ability tied to a stat, you have to be damn sure that that stat is an important one. Speed isn't important after a player learns how to avoid the enemy, which means Valentine will quickly scale out with the player's skill, meaning that she'll one day be the worst character. Droopy throws a disco ball that stuns monsters for 3 seconds and heals teammates. This is a good ability. It serves 2 purposes. An ability that does 2 different things that are very different, great. It's also a different way to heal that isn't entirely direct. Cat City also heals, and Happy Pride, because he's big gay with CLB, is confirmed through the 2 sharing the Lover's Tarot and through some voice lines. Cat's heal is putting some bottles of milk on the ground. After a few seconds they warm up and will heal you for 15% of your HP. I only have one suggestion. If the timer isn't up, it should give 5%. That way it isn't entirely wasted when a noob grabs it not understanding what it does. Tippy jumps and throws confetti, healing 25% or giving a speed boost. I haven't seen anyone play them, so I have no idea how well this works in a game. Mariano hides for 6 seconds. I'm guessing this is invisibility, which is fine. Reina blinds enemies and gives a speed boost. boost. Any character who gives a speed boost to others instantly makes Valentine worse, because there's no reason to play Valentine when you've got a Reyna on the team. Coco highlights a tree or enemy for the round. If it really is just one, this is kind of a useless ability. They do get a passive though, and it's more money from coin pickups. So getting Coco, the most expensive character, is rewarded with more income. You probably don't need much more money after you get Coco, so save your cheddar for Coco immediately to make buying others easier. Right now, it's too early to tell how the characters are going to perform. As I've said, I don't intend to play this long term, so I won't be able to tell how well the game plays in the long run. Accessories. Dandy has his trinkets, Dolly has her charms, and Toon Universe has its emblems. This game does shimmers, which is pets, but they're trinkets. They give passive effects. I do have to say that I was a little disappointed that their pet system turned out to be just trinkets, because I did play this before their pets came out, and I was hoping pets were going to do something a little different that we haven't seen in other games. Unfortunately, they're just trinkets, and they do a lot of what other trinkets do in other games. The exception being some pets with less useful stats will have 2 stats or effects that they give in one item, like Nobu boosting health and stealth. Lobby. Not much to talk about here. That's what you'd expect. Shop, players, emote spam. The emote spam is made way worse by adding a bunch of meme audio to all the stickers. You've got like your yippee Club Penguin music and stuff like that. It's annoying, and it doesn't fit with the game's aesthetic at all. I'm sure others love it. I'm not others. One last weird thing though. To start a run, you go into a hot air balloon, but when you show up in a stage, it's in the back of a van. Very weird. How did we get there? Overall, check it out if you want. It is free after all, but this one won't be entering my rotation of games. I probably won't be checking out future updates unless the update is something super compelling, especially now that I have another job. I don't see a reason to play this over Dandies or Dollies, especially as a controller player. The aesthetic doesn't grab me, the gameplay doesn't, and right now the only game in my rotation is just Dollies because it's the only game that seems to respect my time with quick runs. If I were to play another game while waiting for updates, it wouldn't be Dandies, Toons, or this. But if I had to choose, I guess it would probably be Toons Universe. That's it for this one though. Thanks for watching, and thanks to the supporters on Patreon and members on YouTube like Luis Fernando, Ilwez, Alter Ego, Nightmare Wuna, Freya Games, Gezro, Am, Nebazi, Esper Artist Paper, Faye Penguin, Momentary Unicorn, Nat, Marius Yini, Worm Syrup, Rask, Beef, Colorado Blue, Vaderson, Linky, Addy14, The Ace of Raccoons, Blackjack, Rask again, Willie Pete, TG Dante, Linky again, Astro Pixie YT, and Malding Brick. I'll see you all later. I have to go juggle chainsaws now. Bye.
Try to follow my rhythm.
I'll give you the spark.
Here comes Droopy.
Yeah, the Here Comes Droopy line with the voice actor and how breathy they sound, it sounds creepy. It sounds very creepy.